All right. Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you for joining. If anyone's popping in later on or watching a recording of this, I'm Rachel. I'm a physical therapist locally here in the Bay Area. And I've been a Pilates instructor for, gosh, close to 20 years now. We're going to go through a 45-minute flow style class today. No props are necessary, just your mat, bare feet or feet in socks with, grips if you feel like you need a little bit of a balance assist. And potentially a towel roll to put under your knees as we move on to hands and knees, just in case you feel like you need a little more padding for those bony areas. Go ahead and grab that now while we're talking this through. We're going to be going through class in a flow manner, meaning there's not going to be a whole lot of stops and starts. We'll try to make position changes minimal. I've organized the class so we start in standing, we get onto the ground, move through our various positions, and then we finish the class in standing as well. We're going to move through balance exercises, core, a little bit of neck and shoulder, a lot of glute work. We're going to be working on emphasizing full range of motion or full available range of motion and using our bodies through that range that we have. Please move at a pace that works for you. And if there's anything today that does not feel good in your body that we're doing right now, during the class, even if it's felt great in the past, definitely respect how you're feeling. Take time to get water if you need it. And I can stick around for a couple of minutes after class if anybody has any questions. But let's go ahead and get going. I'm going to start my timer. We'll put it on the floor to keep me honest here as far as how much stuff we're going through. That timer will be right in front of me. We're going to start standing on our mats with our feet a little bit wider apart than our shoulders. Let's turn our toes out to the sides just a touch. Maybe they're pointing out toward the bottom front corners of your room. We're going to shift our weight forward and back toward the toes and toward the heels, just a touch. What I want you to try to focus on doing is keeping those heels on the floor, keeping those toes on the floor as well as we move back and forth between the end ranges of our base of support in either direction. Let's settle the weight back toward our heels now. And as we settle back toward our heels, we're going to soften up our knees. Let them bend a touch. Let's roll our shoulders up, back, and down through some circles. Work out any crunches that might be present after sitting at a computer or maybe after a workout if you've done something active just prior to this class. We're going to roll those shoulders back and down to a nice, settled, relaxed position for the arms. And let's picture a string at the crown of the head drawing us up toward the ceiling, and that same string dropping a plumb line down from your tailbone right between your heels. Let's gently draw the belly and spine toward each other. We're going to feel a little activity through that midsection if we poke our fingertips right into our abdomen. And let's take our arms up and overhead. We're going to bring them out to the side, reach them up toward the ceiling, and then out to the side and down by those legs. Again, let's breathe in, reach those arms out to the side, up and overhead. We'll exhale the hands out to the sides and down by the trunk. Again, arms come up and overhead. This time we're going to clasp our palms, turn the palms to the ceiling, and press those elbows straight as we can comfortably get them. We might get a nice stretch through the sides of the trunk, through those underarm muscles. And as we press our palms up, we're going to lower our shoulders away from the ears. Make that neck visible. Keeping the core active, that belly drawn to the spine. Let's take some side bends, some nice tall side bends to either side. Belly stays engaged. Palms are reaching up to where the wall and ceiling meet to either side of you. One more time to reach. Exhale over, inhale up, exhale to the other side. Inhale, arms up tall. Keeping that core engaged, we're going to bring our hands out to a T. Hands can be either right at or slightly below shoulder height, depending on what feels good on the tops of the shoulders. We're going to picture our shoulders spinning in their socket a bit here. Take those middle fingers, trace a circle on each wall out to either side of the hands. With those fingertips. Face the palms toward the screen. We'll circle for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's reverse it. Circle those palms the other direction. Draw those circles in the other direction on the wall. Circle 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to pause. Let's picture stretching those fingertips out as far away from the center of the body as we can. That's going to give us a little stretch through the underarms. Keeping the core engaged, let's move from our breastbone. Lower body stays still as we rotate the breastbone toward one wall. And inhale back to the center. As we exhale, rotate the breastbone to the other wall and inhale back to the center. Exhale and rotate, inhale and center. Exhale and rotate, inhale and center. Arms come down by the sides. We'll give those shoulders a few more backward circles as we now bring our feet in, narrowing up that base of support. Drop those blades toward the floor. Feet are now parallel to each other, right underneath those sit bones, a few inches apart from each other. We're going to take our hands and place them right at our midsection. Heels of the hands are at the hip bones. fingertips are crossing and locating each other right in below where the belly button meets, right above the pubic bone. Keeping the hands there, I want you to shift your weight now forward toward the toes and backward toward the heels. Monitor for movement and engagement of those muscles right underneath your fingertips as we come to the front and back edges of our base of support. Shifting the weight back over the front of the ankle joints, let's move our fingertips to the waistline. We're gonna soften up our knees again and shift side to side. We're moving the body as one unit from head all the way down to those ankles. Feel those muscles in the trunk kick into your hands as we load one side and then load the other. Let's make some circles around our base of support. Again, drawing that circle on the ceiling with our head. Pause and let's take it the other direction. Circle for 4. For 3, feel those core muscles turn on and off and on again. And 1. We're going to bring ourselves right back over the middle of the ankle joints again. Hands come down, shake the legs out a bit. We're going to make a quarter turn till we're lengthwise on our mat. And let's back up toward the back edge. And as we prepare to make our way down to the floor, if you want to grab your rolled up towel, if you do need a little extra padding for the knees, now's a great time to do it. We're going to get our feet a little bit wider apart, maybe somewhere between hip and shoulder width apart. Feet are parallel to each other. We're going to bend up those knees and stick that tailbone first down toward where the wall and the floor meet behind the body, keeping the curves the same in the upper part of the neck, the middle back, and that low back. We're going to hinge forward with that trunk. Body moves from the hip joint only, breastbone forward, tailbone back. And I want you to hinge forward with that trunk until you first start to feel a little bit of a stretch or a little resistance to movement through the back of the thighs. We're going to hold that there. Draw your belly gently into the spine to support that trunk. And with the knees remaining a little bit bent, we're going to take our hands to the outsides of our glutes. Squeeze those blades back just slightly, and let's shift our weight from foot to foot. Press it side to side. Good. Keep that going. Feel those gluteal muscles kick into your hands as we load one leg. And then as we load the other side, the muscles will kick in on that other side. Good. Take it side to side one more time to each. We're going to come right back to the middle. And let's extend our arms down toward the floor. Let those arms loosen up, release them, shake them out like an elephant shaking its trunk. And as we bring those arms back to a quiet position, they're going to be rested vertically aligned toward the floor. Let's squeeze our shoulder blades together, row those elbows back till they tuck in toward the waistline and reach them toward the floor. Squeeze and row, reach them down. Squeeze and row, reach them down. Again, squeeze and row. Repeat for 4. For 3. For 2, last one, we'll tuck those elbows in by the side that you start with them bent. We're going to straighten and bend them. Prepare those triceps, the backs of the arms for doing some work as we bear weight on our hands in just a few moments. Squeeze and press for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. We're going to reach those arms back toward the wall behind us. Squeeze those blades together one more final time as we breathe in. As we exhale, those hands come toward the floor. Bend the knees as much as you need to get those hands all the way to the mat. Grab your padding if needed as we make our way down to hands and knees. We're going to see if we can keep the balls of the feet pressed into the floor. Give those big toes a little stretch. Drive those heels back to the wall behind you. Let's curl through cat, breastbone toward the ceiling, belly button toward the ceiling, looking toward those thighs. Reverse, lengthen that tailbone back toward the ceiling as we take our breastbone toward the wall in front of us. Curl, lengthen, and reverse. One more time, curl, lengthen, and reverse. As we take that tailbone to the ceiling, we bring that breastbone forward. We'll take a big breath in. As we exhale, let's move that spine to a neutral position. Back of the head, middle back, and sacrum, right below that waistline, are all lined up with each other. Let's turn the tops of our feet down toward the floor. And with our elbows, wrists, and shoulders nice and stable, wag your tail side to side. Take a hip to each shoulder, actively lengthening out on the side we're moving that hip away from. Repeat and rock. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming right back to neutral, we're going to take our feet together, bring our knees apart, and let's press the bottom back to the heels while pressing the heels of the hands into the mat in front of us. We might already feel a little bit of lengthening through the side of the trunk, through that underarm area, right out to the outside border of the shoulder blades. If we want to increase this, we can walk or slide our hands forward toward the front of the mat. If your tops of your shoulders need a little more room, take the hands out to the sides just a touch further. And maybe we can even lower our foreheads toward the mat. As we hold here, let your arms rest down toward the floor. We'll take a big breath and then breathing out, see if you can wrap your shoulder blades forward around the front of the body. That's going to lengthen out through the outside borders of those shoulder blades a little further. Can we wiggle one arm down toward the floor and then wiggle the other armpit down toward the floor? We're rotating through our trunk here, lengthening out through those armpits. If you feel any excessive pulling on that upper arm, I want you to bend those elbows, take some slack back into the system. Let's bring that trunk right back to the middle. We're going to drop the forearms down if they're not already there, bending the elbows. Shift the weight over those forearms, and let's lengthen our legs back behind the body, resting on our upper thighs. We can bring those feet away from each other if that low back needs a little bit more room. We're going to keep those shoulder blades pressed toward the floor as we draw our bellies up toward the spine, away from that mat. That's going to support our low back. Let's squeeze our shoulder blades together behind the back and then press them forward toward the floor. Squeeze them together, press them forward. Squeeze and press, repeat. Here's 4. Squeeze and press for 3. Last 2. And 1. Press those blades to the floor, take a big breath in. As we exhale, we're going to shift our body away from the screen. Turn toward that screen while tucking the far arm underneath. And we're going to turn to our backs, resting our heels with bent knees. Heels line up with those sit bones and the arms are right by our sides. Let's take a big breath in and exhale. As we breathe out, we draw that belly button down toward the spine. Try to keep the lower half of the body relaxed as that core draws in. We're going to think about dropping our lowest ribs and the middle back and the breastbone right between the shoulder blades. We're going to press those muscles into the mat. Let's keep our hands resting by our sides as we nod the chin gently toward the neck, giving us a nice lengthening stretch behind the neck, right from where the head and neck meet all the way down toward those shoulders. Let's flip our palms up to face the ceiling. We're going to spin those thumbs so the backs of the thumbs press into the floor. As we inhale and exhale, picture the collarbones coming away from the center of the body and dropping down toward the floor. Let's gently rock our knees side to side. I want you to move in a range where you can keep your head, neck, and backs of the shoulders resting on the floor. As the knees come side to side, it's okay if your hips lift up on the side that we're moving away from. We're getting a little bit of maybe a little stretch to that lower back, maybe even a little stretch to the sides of the hips as we do so. And we should feel the sides of our trunk doing some work in the lower part of the trunk. Let's rock those knees to one side and then we'll take them right back to the middle. Inhale again and exhale, drawing that belly a little closer to the spine. We're now going to picture that pelvic clock right on our midsection, 12 by the breastbone, 6 by that pubic bone, 3 and 9 on either side. And let's rock that pelvis from the 12 o'clock position, flattening the low back, to the 6 o'clock position toward those heels. Curl to 12, reverse to 6. We're going to repeat this through at a pace that works for you. And I want you to move through a range where that head and neck stay nice and still, and that shoulder stays nice and still. If your upper back tends to be a bit tight, you may have restricted motion through that pelvis. And that's okay. That's something we can always work on. Coming back to neutral, we're going to rock that pelvis from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, side to side, lifting one hip while we lower the other, and then reversing it to the other side. Rock it side to side, upper body above that belly button, stay still as we can keep it. 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Let's take that pelvis right back to neutral. We're going to flip our palms toward the floor and bring them down by our sides. Keeping the chin nodded toward the neck, let's raise one knee up to 90 degrees at the hips, 90 degrees at the knees so that chin is parallel to the ceiling. Can we lift our other leg up to meet it? Hold here. If we need to take a little stress off that low back or the core in order to let us keep that navel drawn in, we could bring our knees a little closer to our belly buttons. Let's touch that leg closest to the screen, touch those toes down, touch the other toes down. Lift the leg closest to the screen up to tabletop, lift the other one up to meet it. Lower that second leg down, lower the first leg down. Repeat, lift one leg, lift the other to tabletop. Lower one leg, lower the other to tabletop, from tabletop. Let's lift back to that 90-degree parallel position, and we'll bring the other knee to meet it in tabletop, this time holding our position. Keeping the belly engaged, we're gonna press our hands and our thighs toward each other until we feel further activation through that midsection. From the breastbone, that lowest area of the ribs, all the way down to the pubic bone. Drop the shoulders toward the hips, and we're gonna extend our arms forward to the wall in front, and then hover those hands just a couple of inches up above the floor, about the front of the trunk height away from that mat. Maintaining that chin nod, can we extend our legs a bit or all the way to the ceiling? Extend the knees, stretch them out straight as we can get them without letting that pelvis or trunk move. When we found that position of maximal straightening through those knees with a stable trunk, let's pat our hands up and down. We're going to inhale for 5 and exhale for 5 pats as if we're strongly dribbling little tiny basketballs along the mat. Breathe it in. Exhale. Maybe we take our feet forward so they reach a little closer to the wall in front of us as we continue to breathe in and out at a pace that works for you. Maybe we add a kickstand if we need a little more support. One foot can come down to the mat. Inhale. Breathe it out. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. Let's keep those hands moving, but we're going to press our palms to the ceiling now, moving the air in the opposite direction. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe it out. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Breathe it out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Flip the palms toward the floor. Draw both knees into the chest, keeping the belly pulled away from the thighs. And we're going to lower the leg farthest from the screen down to the mat. Touch those toes down. Grab onto the leg closest to the screen and pull that knee into the chest. Let's slide our straightening leg out all the way out until we can touch the back of the knee to the floor. And let's draw that bent knee across the body. Give it a little wiggle, letting your hip come up from the mat. Big breath in. Keep the wiggle going. Big breath out. We'll come right back to the center. Grab onto the front of that knee and keeping the core engaged, belly to spine, let's hover our straight leg off the floor. We're going to circle the wall in front of us. Draw those circles on the wall with our toes while taking care to keep the rest of the body as still as we can as we let that hip move. Let's circle it the other way. Keep reaching those toes as far away from your head as you can. Pause in the middle. Take that lifted leg side to side, out toward the wall and back toward midline. Exhale out to the side, inhale to center. Exhale to the side, inhale, center. One more time, exhale to the side, inhale to the center. We're going to keep that leg hovered as we breathe in. As we exhale, we'll draw it into the chest. Place the other foot on the floor and let's slide that leg out into a straight position, pressing the back of the knee toward the mat. Pulling that far knee into the chest, we'll reset our position. Belly stays engaged as we draw our bent knee across the body. I'm pulling mine toward the screen and giving a little rock so that hip comes up off the floor just a touch. Rock it as we take a big breath in. Keep that wiggle going as we come back to the center. Hanging onto that bent in knee with both hands. We're going to keep the belly engaged and hover that straight leg up off the floor just a few inches up. Let's draw some circles on the wall in front. Maintaining that stability through the pelvis, stability through the trunk as that hip circles. Breathe in at the bottom and exhaling, we'll circle it the other way. Keep that tailbone nice and still. Monitor what that pelvis is doing, how it's pressing into the floor. Stretch that straight knee forward along the wall and we'll take it side to side, out and in. Exhale away from center, inhale back to midline. Exhale away, inhale to center. Last two, take it to center. Last one, take it back to the middle. Maintaining that hover, we're going to keep our trunk, head and neck nice and still. Switch those legs, pull the straight knee into the center, press the opposite leg forward to hover. Inhale to center, exhale, press to hover. Inhale to center, exhale and press. Inhale to center, exhale and press. Let's repeat again. We've got 4 more total with the arms reaching toward the ceiling. Use your core to draw that bent knee in toward the chest. Big breath in. Exhale, switch. Pull to center. Exhale, press to hover. Inhale to center. Exhale and press. If you still need your hands to support the knees, that's absolutely fine. This is a progression. One more time. Pull and press. We're going to take that leg closest to the screen, stretch it out, draw the bent knee into the chest with the hands one more time, and then let's lengthen our straight leg down to the floor. Hang on behind the thigh. We're going to lift that knee, straightening up that foot toward the ceiling until we feel that nice hamstring stretch. We're going to feel a stretch from the back of the knee up toward that sit bone. I want you to keep your pelvis as still as you can. So if you need to bend the knee a little bit to realign everything and have a little slack in the system, that's okay. Find your stretch point, flex and point that ankle. Toes toward the nose, toes to the ceiling. Pointing the toes to the ceiling, we're going to keep our belly drum down. Maybe we hover that supporting leg up off the floor as we take our hands down by our sides. Let's keep our pelvis and our trunk nice and still as we take our lifted leg and draw a horizontal line on the ceiling. Let that leg come out and in through a range where we can keep our pelvis nice and still with those hip bones pointed like headlights to the ceiling. Let's sweep through some circles. Same stability through the pelvis as we challenge in all planes of motion here. Pause at the top and let's trace that circle the other direction. Circle for 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to pull that knee into the chest, give it a hug, big breath in. Exhale, switch it up, pull the opposite knee in. Slide that leg we just stretched all the way out along the mat, pressing the back of the knee into the floor. Keeping the core engaged, we're going to hang on behind that thigh and lift our newly stretching leg up toward the ceiling. Find that resistance point, feel a nice length between the back of the knee and that hip sit bone, and we'll flex and point. Toes toward the nose, toes toward the ceiling. Toes toward the nose, toes toward the ceiling. Keeping that pelvis nice and squared off, bending the knee if we need to. We're going to keep our core engaged and hover that supporting leg up off the floor if we need a little challenge. Let's take our hands down by our sides. Leg goes side to side. Draw that horizontal line in the ceiling. Here's 3. Here's 2. Keep those shoulder blades pressed down as well. Last one. Inhale the leg to the ceiling. Let's sweep through our circles. Stir that hip in its socket. Here's 3. Here's 2. It's okay if that knee's bent. We could pretend we have that pencil at the kneecap, tracing that circle on the ceiling. Pause at the top, breathing in. Exhaling, we'll take it the other way. Circle for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's hang on behind that thigh, roll those shoulders back and down. Support that leg by kicking it gently into the hands. And we're going to keep the core engaged as we lift our opposite leg up to meet that stretching leg. Switch the grip and lengthen our other leg down toward hover. Inhale, lift the leg, exhale, switch. Inhale, lift, exhale, switch. Nod the chin, look down toward those knees as we switch our legs. It's okay if they're a bit bent, just keep them bent the same amount throughout the range. Switch them up for 4, for 3, for 2, and 1. Let's hang on behind those thighs. We're going to bend our knees back to our 90-degree tabletop position. Use your hands as a little sling to support those legs as we draw and rock that body side to side. Inhaling back to tabletop, we'll exhale, draw the belly down toward the spine. We're going to bring our knees together, and with vertical thighs, or as close to vertical as we can get them, let's extend our feet both toward the ceiling, straightening out those knees as much as we can. We're going to shoot for an L from those legs down to the floor, and from that trunk from tailbone to head. With the arms pressed into the mat by our sides, let's take an inhale. And breathing out, we keep that core engaged as we stir both hips in the socket. We're going to make some circles in opposite directions of each other. Your speed is up to you. The width and radius of your circle is up to you. If we want to challenge things further, we could take those hands up toward the ceiling. Look toward those fingertips as if those hands are lifted. Look toward your knees if your hands are on the floor. Let's switch our direction. We're going to circle the other way. Keep your breathing pattern regular. Whatever is working for you to keep you from holding your breath is what I want you to do. Let's bring our feet together. We're going to flex those feet, turn the toes away, heels are together, and we're going to take our feet slightly forward, open up those hips just a bit in front so we reach our feet to where the wall and ceiling meet. As we inhale, we're going to bend our knees, bring our heels in toward that pubic bone. Knees are going to come out to the side, frog position. As we exhale, we keep that belly drawn toward the spine, and we press our knees toward each other, straightening the legs toward the ceiling. Inhale to frog, exhale, press those knees straight. Inhale to frog, exhale and press. One more time, inhale to frog, exhale, press those knees forward. We're going to turn our feet parallel to each other, line those legs up in our tabletop position again. Take a big breath in. Belly to spine on the exhale. Let's move through our long diagonals. One arm comes back overhead as we press the other leg forward. Inhale to center, exhale and switch it up. Inhale to center, exhale and switch. Inhale to center, exhale and switch. 4 more diagonals. There's 4. Switch and reach for 3. Final 2. And 1. Coming right back up to our tabletop position. We're going to hold it here. Let's keep our arms still as we draw the chin down toward the neck. Drop the breastbone and those lowest ribs to the floor and engage that core, drawing the belly a little closer to the spine. We're gonna hold here as we reach our shoulder blades forward to the ceiling and down toward the mat. Reach toward the ceiling, reach them down to the floor. Reach the blades up, lower them down. One more time, reach the blades up. Bring them down to the mat, flex your feet, pull your toes toward your knees, and one at a time, we're gonna lower and lift a heel toward the mat and lift. Switch it up and lift. Touch the heel, inhale, lift. Exhale, switch, inhale, tabletop. Can we progress to both heels lowering and lifting simultaneously? If we need to keep it on alternating legs, that's absolutely fine. Exhale, lower, inhale, lift. If you wanna make this more challenging, as the feet come down, those arms come back. We inhale to the top. Whatever progression is working best for you, we'll stick with it for 4. Inhale, center. Exhale for 3. Inhale up. Last 2. Inhale to the ceiling. Last one. Both heels are going to touch the floor. We're going to open those arms back overhead far as we can. Can we reach our thumbs down toward the mat with straight elbows? If not, that's okay. Pause in the position where we can reach back as far as we possibly can without letting that middle back press up off the floor. From here, we're going to lower our toes to the mat, inch our heels a little closer to our bottoms. And let's nod the chin down toward the neck. Take a big breath in. Draw that breastbone middle back down. Now take another big breath in. Exhaling, lowest ribs, belly button come to the floor. We're going to flip our palms to face the ceiling. Open the arms out to a T, and then bring the hands down by our sides, first with our palms facing in toward the trunk, and finally we'll press our palms down into the mat. Take a big breath in, and as we exhale, we're going to draw our bellies toward our spines and prepare for bridging. Heels are going to come a touch closer to that rear end as we breathe in, and as we exhale, we keep that core nice and active. Squeeze those glutes, press those glutes up toward the ceiling. Control that body back down to the mat. Press and hold, control it back down. I want you to move through the bridge at a pace that's working for you, and also through a range that's working for you. I want you to feel those glutes working, maybe a stretch through the front of the thighs, no strain in the lower back. That may mean modifying that range a little bit, not to get up quite as high. Ultimate range for this bridge would be to get those knees, the hips, and the shoulders in a nice straight diagonal line of the shoulders on the floor. We're going to hold our next bridge up at the top and press those arms firmly into the mat for support. Keeping the hips lifted and that belly drawn back, we're going to take it up and down on our toes. There's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, heels down, pulse the hips to the ceiling for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Breathe it in. As we exhale, lower those hips down with control of the mat. Release the glutes at the bottom. Hands come down, rock those knees side to side. Breathe it in. Breathe it out. One more time, breathe it in. One more time, breathe it out. Coming right back up to the center. We'll inch our heels a little closer to those buttocks. Take a big breath. Exhale, pressing back up to bridge. Pressing our hands into the floor. We're going to move through a march. Press that far ankle and heel into the mat. Lift to tabletop on the other side. Place the foot back down and switch it up. Don't be afraid to use your arms for support. You could press your elbows down into the mat. We want to press that weight-bearing foot a little more firmly into the floor as we lift our other leg. We're going to repeat for 4. Switch for 3. Switch for 2. Switch for 1. Bring that second foot down to the floor. We'll take a big breath in. Exhaling, keep that core engaged as we lower the body back down to the mat. Release those glutes at the bottom. Take a big breath in as we rock the knees to one side. Take a big breath out as we take them over to the other side. Inhale back to the middle. One last set of bridges here. We're going to move through some single leg bridges. If these are not working for you, I want you to stick with double leg. We have 4 on each side. You are welcome to take those glutes up and down for 8 double bridges, or we can work single leg. We're going to cross that leg closest to the screen over the other knee, ankle to knee. Press in for a little stability. We're going to take a breath here. And as we exhale, we press our supporting heel into the mat. Let's lift up into single leg bridge. And let's control back down. Lift and press. Control it down. If you want to try a few without support, you can progress to tabletop position. Lift them up. Lower back down. Uncross the leg if they've been crossed. We'll take our far ankle, cross it over to the knee closest to the screen, press the ankle and knee toward each other, press that supporting heel into the floor. We'll lift up, lower the hips down. Press and lift. If we want to take the cross leg out of the picture and move to tabletop, we can. Twice more, lift and lower. Last time, press and lift. Lower the hips down. Let's keep that free leg or the crossed over leg right where it is. We're going to pull our knee into the chest and rock through our figure four stretch, pulling away from that cross leg side. Rock the body away from the cross leg, rock back toward it. One more big breath here. And exhaling, we'll put that foot down, switch it up, opposite side, cross the ankle over. Lift up if we have a little more slack to take out of the system. And we'll rock away from the cross leg side and then back toward it. Rock it away and rock toward. One more time, rock it away. Inhale to the center, unwind those legs, give the knees a little hug. We'll take our feet and our hands right back down to the floor, and we're going to move ourselves over to hands and knees. And what I want you to do now, since we will be spending the next few minutes on hands and knees, is if you do think you need more padding, go ahead and grab that towel roll, or we can double up our mat underneath those, the top part of the shins right below the kneecaps. Once we make our way over to hands and knees, settle with the wrists and shoulders, knees and hips lined up. Let's curl through our cat and cow positions at a pace that works for you. Curl looking toward those thighs and then reverse. Tailbone to the ceiling, breastbone forward. One more time, curl through cat, reverse and release to cow. Coming back to neutral, upper body stays still as we wag our tail side to side. Coming back to neutral, keep the core engaged as we squeeze and press through our shoulder blades. Squeeze and press. Keep this pattern going. If you'd like to make it more challenging, we could come back with those knees to a plank on the knees. We could turn the toes under and come up into a high plank or push-up position. Same deal, squeeze and press, squeeze and press. Hold your plank on the knees, or hold in hands and knees with the knees right underneath the hips. We're gonna rock our body side to side, press the floor with those hands for 4, for 3, good job, 2, and 1. Coming back to the middle, we're gonna hold here with those blades pressed toward the floor. Let's take our knees down right underneath the shoulders if they're not already there. We're gonna shift slightly away from our screen with that core engaged, and let's bring that hand closest to the screen right up to the thigh. Square off the shoulders, we're gonna squeeze and press through that supporting shoulder blade. Squeeze and press. Should you choose to progress this, again, we could come back to a plank on the knees or a plank on the feet. Squeeze and press for 3, for 2, for 1, switch it up. Opposite hand to the floor, take that newly lifted hand right to the thigh, square off those shoulders. We'll squeeze that blade in toward the center, press it toward the floor. Squeeze and press, squeeze and press. Repeat for 3, for 2, for 1, press that blade down. We're going to take our hand down, rest it right next to the other one underneath the shoulder, and let's move to shoulder taps. One hand to the opposite shoulder, switching it up. Repeat. Maybe we walk those hands slightly further forward toward the front of the mat, bringing the shoulders forward as we open up our hips a touch toward the floor. We're controlling our trunk and shoulders versus rotational challenges. Here's 4. Here's 3. Here's 2. And here's 1. Hands come down. If we've walked ourselves forward, we'll walk back to hands and knees. And let's take an inhale. Breathing out with the belly to spine. Let's open that arm closest to the screen, out toward that screen. Follow it up to the ceiling with your head. Let's bring that hand back down to the mat. Switch it up to the other side. Little trunk rotation. Take it back down. Inhale, open the arm. Exhale, the hands and knees. One more time. Inhale, open the arm away from that screen. Exhale to center. Let's keep our core engaged. We're gonna roll through some shoulder blade circles. That head will come down and up a bit, in line with the trunk. Pressing those blades to the floor. We're gonna take that leg closest to the screen, extend it back behind the body, and take the opposite arm forward. Bring it back to center, switch it up. Inhale the hands and knees, exhale and switch to the diagonal. Inhale to center, exhale, switch and hold the opposite arm and leg away from each other. We can repeat, keeping opposites moving away from the floor, or we can challenge ourselves a bit here by keeping that leg still and moving the arms. Switch them off for 4. Reach the arm for 3. Last 2. Last 1. We're in opposite reaches. Let's take that knee down and that hand down, switch to the other diagonal. Leg closest to the screen is back, opposite arm is forward, hold here. If we want to continue with opposites, we can move both the arm and leg. Otherwise, we shift to the leg closest to the wall, take the other arm up, arm comes down, lift that opposite arm. One more time to each, shift and lift. Last time, shift and lift. We're back to opposite arm and leg reach. We're gonna hold here for a breath. As we exhale, our hand comes down, our knee comes down. Curl through cat, reverse into cow. One more time, curl and reverse. Let's take it to neutral with that belly drawn in, and let's come down to our forearms. The head is lower than the hips now. If it does not feel good, I want you back up on hands and knees for this next leg series. If you do need more support for your head, double one fist over the other, and you can rest your forehead on those hands. With the knees hip width apart, we're gonna move that leg closest to the screen at the 90-degree knee bend, up and down. Press to the ceiling and lower. Press to the ceiling and lower. Press to the ceiling and hold. The thigh stays still as we straighten and bend our knee. There's 4. There's 3. There's 2. There's 1. Hold it there. Flex up that foot. Kick that heel to the ceiling. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's point that toe. Bring that leg back in. Take a big breath in. Regroup. Exhale, belly to spine. Shift to the opposite side. Keeping the knee bent. We'll float that leg up. Control the knee down. Press it up. Control it down. Press it up. Control the knee down. Press it up. Hold. Thigh stay still as we straighten and bend that knee for 4. Keep pressing those blades toward the floor. There's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Flex that foot. Pulse to the ceiling. Squeeze that glute. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Point those toes. Float that knee back in. Our feet come together, knees come apart. We're going to press the bottom back to the heels and walk the hands toward the front of the mat. Wrap those shoulder blades around the front of the body, and we're going to lower our forehead to the floor. Breathe it in. As we exhale, walk the hands toward the screen. We'll pause hand over hand, take a big breath. Breathing out, let's walk the hands the other way. Pause hand over hand, big breath in again. Exhale, walk those hands forward. We're going to drop our forearms, shift the weight over them. Keep the core engaged, draw the belly to the spine as we take our legs back behind the body. We're gonna rest on the upper thighs just like we did at the beginning of class and press those blades toward the floor. Draw the belly up toward the spine. Let's bend one knee, kick that heel toward the bottom. Straighten out and switch, kick, kick. Straighten and switch, kick, kick. Straighten, kick, kick. Repeat for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Straighten those legs out, breathing in. As we exhale, we're going to bring our bodies down just a touch. Hands come right underneath those shoulders. We'll press ourselves back to hands and knees. We'll curl through cat, reverse to cow. Coming back to the middle. And then let's take a seat on our mat. We're lengthwise. We're going to bend up our knees, get our weight just back behind our sit bones, and let's line our heels up with those sit bones. Grab on behind the thighs. Angle the body back just a touch till we feel that core working to hold you, keeping you from falling backwards. We're going to move our hands to the outsides of the thighs, and then let's press the hands and thighs toward each other. Feel those hips activate. Hold it here. If this is challenging enough to maintain, we're just going to simply hold our balance, take some deep breaths. If we want to make this more challenging on the core, let's take one arm out to the side and then back to the knee, and then the other arm out to the side and back to the knee. Where do you feel this? Are we feeling our side trunk muscles working? Are we feeling ourselves being able to keep that belly engaged back toward the spine? Good. Let's take those hands right back to the knees. We're going to shift our weight upright so we're vertically aligned. Let's take our hands back behind the body. We're going to press the palms into the mat, either with the heels of the hands on the floor and the palms, or the fingertips rather, facing forward, or with the fingertips facing out to the sides if the shoulders and wrists need a little bit more slack. We're going to straighten our elbows, squeeze the blades. If you need a little more slack, we move the butt a little closer to the hands. If we want to get a little more stretch, tensing the system a little more, we walk those bottoms forward a little closer to our heels. Let's send our breastbone forward to where the wall and ceiling meet. So we're extending through that upper back while maintaining our belly to spine, core activation. Send that breastbone to the ceiling. Take a big breath in here. Feel that chest expand. Breathe it out. If we want more expansion and a little more work, As we breathe in next, we could lift up to our reverse tabletop position. That lift is optional. Take a big breath. The breath's not optional. Breathe it in again. Breathe it out. One more time, big breath in. Exhaling, we'll slowly release those glutes down to the mat. Let's turn and face our screen with those legs crossed if we can. We want to sit up tall as we can. So if crossing legs makes that impossible, let's bring those feet away from the body. They're going to stay bent in front of us, and our weight is right above the front of our sit bones. Hands are going to come down by the sides as we shrug our shoulders up to the ears, and as we unshrug them down and away. One more time, shrug them up to the ears, unshrug them down. Let's roll those shoulders back and down, reset that padding for under the knees, and we're going to make our way to a tall kneeling position. Holding up in tall kneel with that padding as needed. We're going to curl that pelvis slightly under, tuck that pubic bone, shortening it toward the breastbone, reach those arms down by the sides. Let's lean our bodies back, feel those sides working. We'll inhale up tall. Again, exhale, lean it back. Inhale it up. As we exhale, our arms come out to the sides. We're going to take our body weight to one side, stretch out that leg, and drop into a squared off hip position. Breathe it in here. As we exhale, let's take a side bend away from that straight leg. We'll inhale up tall and exhale toward that straight leg. Inhale up, exhale, side bend away. Inhale up, side bend toward. Inhale up, exhale, side bend away. We're going to hold, pulse that leg to the ceiling. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's come up nice and tall. Bring those hands to the hips. Give those shoulders a roll as we come back through our high kneeling. And we'll switch to our other side. Lengthen that leg out. Square up those hips. Arms float out to the side as we breathe in. And as we exhale, side bend away from that straight leg. Inhale up tall, exhale, bend toward it. Inhale up, exhale, side bend away. Inhale up, exhale, side bend toward. One more time, inhale up, exhale, side bend away from that straight leg. We're gonna pulse that leg up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take it up tall. We'll side bend one more time toward that straight leg. Bring that trunk up right. Let's take ourselves back through that tall kneeling position, and we'll make our way down onto our side. Rest on that bottom arm. Knees are forward, heels are lined up with those rear ends. Let's keep that core engaged, belly to spine, and press the top hand into the mat. We're going to press that top hand down and lift and lower our knees for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees come down, top knee lifts alone, clamshells. 3, 2, hold it up there for 1. Lift the toes, top knee comes down and up. 4, 3, 2, hold it up there for 1. Straighten and bend those knees. 3, 2, and 1. Touch those toes. Top knee comes down. We're going to bring both feet down. Fire hydrant lifts, top leg alone. 3, 2, and 1. Back to hip height. Straighten the bottom leg out. Fire hydrants again. 3, 2, 1. Back to hip height. Touch the top toes down to that bottom knee. Top knee comes down and up. 3, 2, 1. Straighten that top leg out. Hold it there. Keeping that leg right above hip height. Bring that bottom foot up and down. Last 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring those toes down. Bend up the knees. Pat that hip out. Let's take ourselves up and over to the other side. Take a couple deep breaths to regroup. We'll lower ourselves down toward that bottom arm. Knees are forward, heels line up with those glutes. Draw that belly toward the spine and press that top hand into the floor. Lift and lower the knees for 4, for 3. You got this. Here's 2. Here's 1. Knees come down. Top knee lifts. 3, 2, 1. Hold that knee open. Lift the feet. Top knee comes down and up. Our top hand could come to the waistline if you wanted. 2, 1. Hold the knee up there. Press that top hand down into the mat again. Straighten and bend the knees. There's 4. There's 3. Here's 2. And 1. Knees come down. Bring those feet down. Fire hydrant lifts. 3, 2, and 1. Back to hip height. Straighten the bottom leg out. Fire instead. 3, lost an air pod there. There's 2. And 1, back to hip height. Bring that top foot right down to that bottom knee. Lower and lift the knee. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straighten out that leg. Final series in this side lying series. We've got that top leg just above hip height. Lift and lower that bottom leg. Touch those toes if you can. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring those legs down. Bend those knees up. Give your hip a little pat. We're going to turn onto our backs. Bend those knees up, line the heels with the sit-bones. Take a big breath in. And as we exhale, we're going to rock our knees toward the screen and toward that opposite wall. Again, rock them toward the screen. Rock them to the opposite wall. Take it right back to the center, breathing in. As we exhale, we cross one ankle over the other knee, lifting to figure 4 if we have the slack in the system to do so. Take a breath. Breathe it out. Let's switch up those legs. Ankle crosses to knee. If you've got the room, lift up into figure 4. Let's rock a little bit if you can. Big breath. Exhale, center. As we uncross the legs, we'll draw them into the chest. Let's control those feet down to the mat. We're going to make our way up to standing, first by turning over to hands and knees. Get your bearings here, maybe with a cat and cow or 2 if that feels good. We'll come right back to the middle. From here, can we come back to a high plank push-up position? Can we press that tailbone toward the ceiling, lining up those elbows with the ears? If we can't line them up, that's okay. We're a work in progress. Find the stretch through the sides of the trunk, and we'll walk our hands toward our feet. Once our weight is right over the front of the ankle joints, let's make our way up nice and tall to standing. And we'll come back to the center of our mat, regrouping to finish with a quick balance activity. If you do need something to hold on to, please feel free to come to something stable, a wall, a countertop, or a chair, or a sofa back. We're going to start up nice and tall. Feet start parallel. I want you to take your hands right to your midsection, and we're going to shift the weight to one side. Once we're there, let's take our opposite foot in front of it. Again, holding onto something to keep you stable if you need to. Progressing if you'd like, we can look side to side. Really feel that back leg working, that back ankle working to keep you nice and supported. We'll come back to the center. Shift toward that back leg. Can we come up to single leg balance? If that's not working, keep one toe down on the floor as a kickstand. We're going to hold for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take that lifted foot down. Shift to the other side. Again, find something to hold on to if you need to. We'll stand heel toe and look side to side. Feel that back foot working. Are your 2 sides symmetrical? Just something to think about. Shifting toward that back leg, we'll rise to single leg balance. Again, finding your kickstand if you need a little more assistance with that balance. We'll hold for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's take our feet down a little wider apart than our shoulders. Spread those toes apart, shift the weight back toward the heels, soften up those knees. Let's close the way we started. We're going to take a big breath in. Arms come up and overhead. Exhale them down. Big breath in, arms up. Clasp the palms, press them to the ceiling. As we exhale, we'll side bend to one corner and inhale and up. As we exhale, we'll side bend to the other corner. Inhale up tall. Keep those arms overhead as we bring our feet together. Unclasp the fingers, reach them up to the ceiling. Big breath in. Exhaling, we'll come into our center. Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you so much as always for joining me. And we will see you next time. Have a